Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events, Season 2, Episode 8. It's called The Hostile Hospital, Part 2. Oh, I have to breathe after I say that title.
Still a mouthful every time.
It's still, yeah, it's so long. But anyway, so obviously we love Part 1 of this two-parter, this hospital storyline, and I think much like the last two-parter, this second half will probably be a shorter discussion, because it's I feel like the first half recently have been setting up all these ideas, and then the second half's been paying them off, but it's mostly been stuff we already kind of
It's less interesting in the sense that there's not as much to talk about, what they're going to do next, because it's like, they're just answering the questions.
Pretty much, but there's a couple of big set pieces in this. The big thing being, and I'll get really excited about this, is that Klaus basically says, hey, Olaf dresses up and pretends to be someone else all the time. Why can't we do that? Because
he always gets away with it.
Yeah, he's trying to find Violet. He wants to know where Violet is. They can't, and it's like, Olaf's smart. He knows he'll be looking for her, so he puts in a fake name in the registry for all the patients, and they get to this rec room, and there's this running joke. There's like one of the doctors or whoever's sleeping in the rec room, like every time someone goes in, but Klaus puts on a fake beard, which why there's a fake beard and a skeleton, so he takes the fake beard off the skeleton. And puts on a lab coat, and Sonny hides to give him like a big stomach underneath. Yeah. And we get Klaus pretending to be this Dr. Faustus, I think his name was.
Yes.
And I love that Olaf always makes up things and makes up words and makes up where, medical school and so on. And Klaus, pretending to be this doctor, says, I went to Oxford. And Olaf immediately goes, sounds made up. that cracked me up so much, because he always makes something up and no one questions it, except obviously the kids, because they're smarter than everyone else.
It's this fantastic reversal, even though he's in costume too.
Yeah, because I like how he's suspicious. He's like, you look rather young. Where did you go to medical school?
Oh, he knows immediately, doesn't he? He's like, I can't call him out, because if I call him out, the only way I could know is if I'm Olaf.
Yeah, and even just a little thing, because the singing guys have all shown up at this point, and he's like, "Oh, I need to see your records there, doctor, for your patient." He just flashes them quickly, and he's like, "Oh, I just saved lives." Like, you can give me a small round of applause. So everyone's like, "Oh, the camaraderie in this hospital is fantastic, isn't it?" And then they go off singing as they do. In fact, one of my favorite little bits in this was the montage of them actually singing to patients. Because the joke is that the patients actually all need something that's, one of them needs water. Like, water, please. And she's, gasping for breath, and she needs water.
You don't need water, you need song, laughter.
So she's gasping as they're all singing and not caring. And then again, there's a guy with his mouth's all wide open, they're all singing. Like, it was a fun little bit. And then obviously the big set piece of the episode is they've got Violet in the operating room, which, I know you get operating rooms that are like theaters so people can watch, but this is like full on like just.
Well, it's the extension of it's an operating theater, right?
Yeah, but it's like over the top where they're selling tickets, because Post came by because he thinks he's got swine flu from the crows,
from the birds. Yeah, it's not bird flu, swine flu.
Yeah. So he comes in, and he happens to be there, and of course he respects the paperwork. In fact, there's a little good joke actually when Klaus is trying to delay, because they're going to make him still. He's pretending he's the doctor, so Olaf making him like cut off Violet's head, and he keeps stalling. And one of the ways he stalls is like, "There's something even more important than everything else we've done already. Paperwork. The paperwork's not been done." And then Poe's like, "Oh, paperwork, yes!" Yeah. And he's getting really excited
because he was hoping it was a musical.
So he was, yes. He was hoping it'd be a musical about cutting someone's head. I like how Olaf, when he's introduced it, he's like, pre-med students, gore fans, everyone. I like how gore fans was in there in the middle.
To be honest, that's probably who this is going to appeal to most, right? And cutting off someone's head.
So, of course, Klaus is delaying as much as he can, and they try to get things out. And Olaf ends up with the film, because, Esme's like, give me the sugar bowl, and he gives the film, he's like, what's this? This isn't the sugar bowl. And, it's like, Snicket file, give me that. Klaus is, Olaf's like, oh, give me that. Because he actually runs off. He ends up, like, escaping and going to watch and finding out that...
He Batman's out.
He Batman's out the scene, and he sees the same bit. Again, we don't see any more of the film. He just sees the same little section that implies there's a survivor of the fire. And he gets so upset that he starts a fire. He actually, throws the projector down in a rage and starts a fire. And, oh, let it burn, it's fine. So our big escape is Klaus and Violet and Sonny having to jump out of a window. There's a whole thing at the start of explaining butterflies in the stomach, and that comes back at the end with them. And they use a medical tube as a bungee, and
Yes, basically.
luckily they land a foot off the ground.
Yeah, I actually really like that because Klaus said they were like 30 or 40 feet up, really overestimating it. When in fact they were like 20.
Yeah.
I mean, I just like that idea because they're always shown to be really accurate and they're always correct. And here it was like no, he was scared and he vastly overestimated the situation.
Yeah, he was scared. You could also maybe look at it as that kids always exaggerate things like that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. But they haven't been up till now. Usually they're pretty accurate, which is why I thought it was really noble that he was so far off this time.
Yeah, no, that shows he was scared. You felt really bad for the Hal, who that was his records room, and he felt so betrayed. Like, yeah, I felt like I assumed that by the end of the episode they'd somehow like gain his forgiveness or something, or he'd understand. But he never really gets that moment. He's still betrayed the entire time.
And then it burns down.
Yeah, they've basically left a trail of bodies in their wake.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's a real shame. And then the big ending, of course, is that basically everyone's out to get them. They think they're murderers. The police and everyone now think they've burned down a hospital. They think that's them, and they're hiding very poorly, might I add, from everyone around them. So they actually end up having to just like, hey, here's a weird idea, but why don't we go and hide in Olaf's car? We'll jump in the back. And that's how we end the episode. And Olaf's actually gone off to a carnival because he wants a fortune teller to tell him.
Yeah, I'm correct if I'm wrong. I think this is the same poster that Jacques gave to the librarian.
That sounds right. Yeah.
So meeting back up with her presumably.
And can I hope that Carmelita shows up somehow? I mean, someone promises in the comics that she's going to appear in future stories, but that might not be till next season, unfortunately. But
no, but I've got a hope.
I'm hoping. I just want like, remember how she entered the cake scene? I want the silhouette. I want the shadow of her shape.
Yes.
And just cake sniffers or something like, whatever. I'll take all of it. Yeah. So they hide in the car and they're off to go. And I like how it's shaking things up because it's like, no, this is like radical. We're actually going to tag along a ride with Olaf and crew.
Yeah, I think it's different because Olaf isn't chasing them this time.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Also, all small jokes that I liked a lot. I liked when the what was the long name for him again? Indeterminate gender, dude.
The hedge person of indeterminate gender.
There you go. That's the name. He like chops down the door they're hiding in before they jump out the building, and he just sticks his head in and goes, "Oh hi, I'm here. It's me, nurse something or other." It's here's Johnny from The Shining, but in a really sort of I don't care. Subdued. Yeah, just like it's me. I'm nurse, whatever. That cracked me up.
Me too. The horror references in these two episodes have been really good.
Oh, they have been, yeah. I think they nailed it for me way more on the first one, but that was still pretty funny.
Yeah, it was.
This one was a whole lot more pantomime, I guess you'd say, because when he's in the operating theatre and it's all about him stalling, and he's like, and this is a knife, and there's lots of knives, we have to explain the procedure before we do it, and this is a knife, you get all types of knives.
You can always imagine one of them shouting, he's behind you, can't you?
Yeah, he's like, you get a butter knife, you get a... just going... Yeah, because I think it cuts actually to Poe at one point. This is very interesting. all this knife talk.
We get a bit of Snicket saying how, like, all this information that you read that seems useless, and it's like, but suddenly, here you go.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Also, I'm digging the pausing at the weird moments where he walks on. Just as someone looks like they're about to die, just like it'll pause. It's like, because that's when he comes on and explains the whole thing. Luckily he underestimated and it was only a foot off the ground. But but it's fun when they're sort of mid jump and it just sort of like freezes. It happened last episode with Violet running away, I think, when she was on her own.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So it's happened a few times, but no. So. No, this was still super entertaining. I think there was a couple of big set pieces in this one, which made it feel... I mean, I think it was a shorter episode anyway, but it felt really quick.
Yeah.
Because it was just 2 or 3 big things that were happening.
There's a lot of action, wasn't it?
I do have to question, though, because obviously Violet does actually break free at one point, and she runs away with the one who's the head of the party plan, which I love that moment. Babs, with Olaf, where he says the same things, where he's like, "Oh, I'm the head of the committee, and I'm head of this. I have nothing to do with the party planning committee." And
I love that when he stands at that desk later on as well, he's crossed Bab's name out, just in a big like graffiti style X over it.
Or even actually earlier on when it's just they're like, "Oh, we're going to alter your paperwork," and she's like, "No, not my paperwork. Take my eyes, take my tongue, but not my paperwork."
Gouge my eyes out was one of them.
That was really good. In fact, even just a little joke later on where he's on the comms again and he's saying, "Oh, there's a fire. Everyone might want to leave. And you might want to evacuate the patients or something." And in fact, there was another one as well where at the end of he was announcing something over the tannoy, and at the end of it, he forgets to turn it off. He's like, "What do you want for lunch? Do you want a sandwich or something?"
Yeah, it's like intercom. You want to turn that off.
So no, it was full of these little moments. But the reason why I bring up the Violet thing, though, where she runs away and Olaf catches her, he then straps her in properly and they knock her out. And I don't necessarily think there is for sure, but is there a chance that something else happened to her while she was knocked out?
I mean, possibly.
I don't know. I just the way we had the scene where like they're all looking at her and she's sort of it's a POV shot and her eyes are closing and it's all very sinister. Now it's probably just to knock her out for the operation, for later on. But I was wondering, was there anything else sinister that went on? And I'm not going super dark here. I just mean like I don't know. Did they give her something, put something in her or something like?
No, I get what you're saying. It's possible. I'd say unlikely, but possible.
I feel like if they want to give us a little swerve or a reveal later where, they put something in her stomach or something silly like that. This is the sort of show that would get away with that silly reveal. Like, she's knocked out, so that they've hid something in her somewhere.
Yeah. That's true.
On hidden objects, though.
Yes, so obviously, I was about to bring this up myself.
Of course, Esme is upset she didn't get the sugar bowl. But we see, just as the hospital's burning down, a mysterious figure with gloves removes the sugar bowl from the rec room.
Yeah. Joe, I thought was actually, even before we had to get to the scene itself, is interesting. I think this is the second time now where, when the eye shuts at the end of every episode, it kind of closes in and then shuts. That's how they all end.
Yeah, this one had like a post-eye shutting scene.
Yeah, I think the last episode did as well, but like it was kind of new. I was like, okay, this is different.
It's interesting. It's
almost like, okay, no, the eyes have been opened about what the tattoo is. It's not an eye, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't shut anymore.
It's interesting. But no, I'm very curious. So obviously we have 2 episodes left of the season. We're going to try and get to them as quickly as possible. We're recording this a day later than we anticipated to. So that is us. So let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mail_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. You can do that over there. Otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?